Well, what do we have here? Some Kullervo buffs, you say? Well, let's check them out then. So they actually ended up doing like a multi-pronged buffage that bolsters Kullervo's survivability quite a bit. His base health has been buffed from 225 to 325, and his base overguard cap went from 5,000 to 10,000. But as you can see at the top right corner of the screen, you can actually push it beyond 10,000 because the overguard cap now scales with power strength with a ratio of 1 to 100. So every 1% of extra power strength you get gives you 100 max overguard. So as an example, in my build I have 169% power strength, so my overguard goes up by 6,900 for a grand total of 16,900 overguard. And that is a lot of overguard. And we are still not done, there is more stuff. So the base heal of Recompense, his second ability, the one that builds overguard, heals a little bit more as well. The base save heal previously was 125 to 200 health, whereas now it's 250 to 300. And finally, Recompense has been given a short invulnerability period that triggers whenever you activate the ability. All of this combined gives Kullervo an extraordinary amount of extra chunk, and it makes him significantly tankier than he was before. The biggest problem with Kullervo prior to this update was his susceptibility to being one-shot, because overguard has no gating on it like shields. So even though you had 5,000 extra overguard on top of a relatively large health pool, you could still get one-shot fairly easily once you got deep enough into Steel Path. And even if you didn't get one-shot, it was pretty hard to bounce back with Kullervo in certain situations where you were constantly getting hit, because there was no invulnerability, so you would build overguard, it would get nuked, build overguard, it would get nuked, build overguard, it would get nuked until you ran out of energy and died. Which sucked because one strong enemy that was in the wrong spot at the wrong time could absolutely shut you down. And that doesn't happen anymore until you get much deeper into Steel Path. Because even if you run into a really bad enemy, you have that short window of invulnerability as well as a much bigger buffer of overguard, so you have more time to take them down. So overall, I approve. Good set of buffs. It just feels really good to not be worried about getting one shot if you get randomly clipped by a Blitz Eximus or an Acolyte decides to hit you really hard. Now, as far as my Kullervo setup goes, it's exactly the same as it was before, so we go maxed out efficiency with relatively high strength, a little bit of extra range, and then we balance out the lost duration with primed continuity. The weapon I like to use on him is the Pennant, which is a 200 Nekana that's running max range with spring-loaded blade and primed reach, as well as some extra sprint speed from Dispatch Overdrive. It's focused more on AoE clear as well as mobility, so it doesn't do as much damage as it could, but it still does more than enough to fly through Steel Path. Now, I also want to mention the Rauta a little bit because they gave it a little bit of a buff as well. So its fall off range has been extended a little bit. Previously it was 6 to 16 meters, whereas now it's 10 to 20 meters. And they tightened its pellet spread quite a bit as well, which is good because the pellet spread on this thing was absolutely ridiculous. This buffs the weapon both in terms of damage, because, you know, you're more likely to hit more pellets even if you're not super close to the enemy, but also in terms of its combo generating potential, because just in case you don't know, the Rauta builds combo as you hit things with it, and the more pellets you hit, the more combo you build. So all in all, a very solid set of buffs that make Kullervo considerably beefier, and also the Rauta just a tiny little bit better. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you'd like to support the channel, you can check out the memberships and stuff down below, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.